Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I can see some of you are already typing in the chat box. So if you can hear me, can you type yes in the chat box? Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. One thing, please, you know where you typed yes? On top, there is a blue button that says all panelists. If you click on that button, you will see a new menu that appears, and I want you to choose all panelists and attendees. If you choose this one, can you then go back and type yes, I've done it? That's great. I can see you all doing this. Absolutely fantastic. We are going to be using this chat box, the one that you are writing now. We are going to be using this for questions I ask you. So I will be asking you questions during this webinar that I want you to answer using the chat box. If you have questions for me, there is another tool that we use, which is called Q&A. You will find this at the bottom of your screen next to the green button. So next to the green button, there is a Q&A. If you click on that, this is where you will be asking me questions or my colleagues who will be responding to you. You might be using a different device. If you're not using a laptop, maybe have a different view. It's okay, don't worry. Don't worry, I can see some people, they have a different device. You can use the chat box if you don't have the other to ask questions, and we'll try to find it. That's okay, people. That's great. It's amazing that so many of you are here. Well done. And I hope you enjoy today's webinar. So can I first ask you, where are you at the moment? Can you type in the chat box where you are? I see Italy, Newcastle. People say home. Where is home? Scotland, London, Manchester. Ooh, many places. Reading. That goes very fast. I cannot even follow. Amazing. I saw Norwich, Leeds, Croydon. Excellent. Okay, I think we're ready. We're ready to start with today's webinar. So today we will focus on choosing and preparing for your topic. And we are going to focus in particular on the GESE 5 exam. This will be our example, but of course you can adapt what you see here for the exam of your level. Of course, each exam is different. So everything we say today is true for the GESE 5 exam. And what we are going to see is we will start with an overview of the exam components. We will continue on the requirements, the particular language requirements on of this particular level. We will continue with some ideas of how to choose an appropriate topic, something that will help you show off those requirements to make sure you use appropriate language for this exam. We will then talk about how you can prepare for the topic stage, and finally some tips for self-study and preparation. So let's get started with some questions for you. My first question is, what is the duration of the exam? If you know, type in the chat box. Somebody said 15, people say 10-ish. It is 10 minutes. It is 10 minutes. That's the duration of the GESE 5 exam. And next question, how many parts are in the exam? 2? Yes, people say 2. I saw, yes, that's 2 parts. That is correct, yes. And what is the first part? Do you know, how do we call the first part? It is the topic, yes, we are all on the same page here. It is the topic. And the second part is? Oh, great, yes, the second part is the conversation. So, you know, today I'm asking you to do all this writing in the chat box, but the exam doesn't have writing. It's a speaking and listening exam. There are 2 parts. The first part is the topic part. The second is the conversation, as you've said. Today and tomorrow, we are focusing on the topic part. On Wednesday and Thursday, we are focusing on the conversation part. So I hope you will all stay with us and join us tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday as well. Now, let's focus on what is that we expect from somebody who takes the exam, the GESE 5 exam at this level. So first of all, we want you to be able to talk about the future. I see some people can hear you. Is that all of you? You can hear? Yeah, it's fine. Some of you might not be able to hear. Maybe the connection is a little bit problematic. Don't worry about it. You will be able to access the recording later. Yeah, so don't worry about it at all. Let's see. So the first requirement, the first thing we want you to do is to be able to talk about the future, to be able to inform about future plans and make some predictions. Let's see, I have a question here for you for this. What do you think the summer will be like? Can you please type an answer, type your response to this question. Somebody says rainy, sunny, hot. It will be beautiful. Yes, it will be sunny. It will be, yes. So what am I doing here? Am I informing about the future plan or am I making a prediction? That is a prediction. So this is an example of something that we would like somebody who takes this exam to be able to say when you are delivering your topic, and later, of course, in the conversation, it is the same. So an opportunity to use language for future predictions. Next one, expressing preferences. And again, I have a question here for you. Do you prefer online lessons or face-to-face lessons? Face-to-face, both, face-to-face, both. Online, some people say. So again, some people say, I prefer online, I prefer face-to-face to online. That's again another way to show your preference and use language to express that. Or somebody said, I don't mind, I like either, I don't have a problem. Next one that we expect, we want you to be able to talk about events in the indefinite and recent past. And I have an example question here for you. Have you and your family enjoyed the lockdown? Somebody said yes, of course. Somebody says no, not at all. It's all right. It's different, isn't it? It is different for everyone. Some people think this is a great opportunity to stay at home and catch up, do a little bit of reading, a little bit of studying maybe. But some others don't like it because it depends. It's a very personal thing. Some people get bored as well. So perhaps in that case, yes, I have enjoyed the lockdown. Or yes, I haven't. Oh, sorry, no, I haven't enjoyed the lockdown. I think it's boring. Some people say this. Some people say it's difficult. I haven't enjoyed it. It's difficult to stay at home all day. And some people say, oh, I have enjoyed it because I can stay home and write music. Exactly. So we are talking about a period. It's not one day. It's more days. We don't know exactly when. It's just a period. It's an indefinite. We don't know exactly. We cannot define the moment. It's not just, did you have a good weekend? Did you have a good Sunday? When I know that I'm talking about a very particular, a specific day. My question here was more general about a past situation. So again, an opportunity to use grammar, use the present perfect simple to talk about this indefinite past. Yes, I have enjoyed, as people write in the chat box. My next one is, we want our somebody who takes the exam to give reasons. So this is, whatever you say, we want you to be able to provide a reason. For example, why do you want to take this examination? For the citizenship, somebody says, for visa purposes, for the ILR, identity, citizenship, naturalization, exactly. So again, an opportunity, we use language again. I want to take this examination because it is a requirement for my citizenship application, for example. And this is a way to give an answer and provide the reason, to say why, in other words. Stating the duration of events, that's another area. We want the people who take this exam to to use language that will help them state the duration of events. And another question is, how long have you lived in the UK? So you've lived in the UK for 5 years, you've lived in the UK for 10 years, you have lived in the UK for 20 years, or I noticed earlier some people were not from the UK, they were living in other areas. I've lived in the UK for 7 years. Very good. So we see for 20 years, or I've lived, for example, I've lived in Ireland since 2018. Exactly, for 3 years, or since, and the date. Very good. So again, that's another area that we want our exam takers to be able to show that they can use. And finally, we want you to be able to use language that helps us to quantify, to talk about quantities of things. And my question would be, how many people do you know who prepare for this exam? How many people? Do you know a lot of people? Somebody says just me. I know of 2 people. I don't know anyone else. More than 20 people? None. I don't know. I can tell you that in this room at the moment, we are 514 people. So you are not on your own. We definitely know of 515 people who are preparing for this exam, and many more who couldn't make it today and will join, perhaps will watch the recording. So it's important to know that it is not just you, but there are many people. There are a lot of people. Again, you notice all the language for quantifier, a lot of people, many people who are preparing for the exam. Right, guys, so we are going to start looking at each one of these areas in more detail. So with the first area we saw today was talking about the future. That's how we started. And we said earlier that we need, at this level, we want you to be able to talk about the future, both to inform and to make predictions. An example of informing would be for you a way to practice using future, talking about the future for informing. An activity that you can do is each evening you should write the next day's schedule. So what I do at every evening is I have on my notebook, I say tomorrow I will give a webinar at 11 o'clock. Tomorrow I will cook my favorite meal. Tomorrow I will go for a walk in the afternoon because the weather will be good. So anything that gives information about the future, any activity that will help you practice giving information about the future is very important, so that you can really focus on the language that you're using. And like somebody wrote in the chat box, tomorrow I will do my homework. If you practice every evening to write a little paragraph with 2 or 3 things, you will get used to, you will get into the habit of using the future to give information about future plans. The other area where you need to be able to use the future for is to make predictions. So again, remember the previous, what I said before, I said each evening write next day's schedule. And this is here to inform, but you can also add a section where you say in 2 years from now, in 2 years from today, I think I will. And this is how you make a prediction. Yeah, I saw somebody said tomorrow I will take a walk with my little man. That's great. That's informing. And you can add, to use future for prediction, you can add, and I think in 10 years from today, I think we will travel the world. I think we will, I think we will do something else. In 5 years from now, I think I will be able to pass this exam. Oh no, I think you'll be able to pass it much, way sooner than you think. So it is important to understand the difference between the two. Someone said, tomorrow I will buy a car. This is informing. You give us a fact, a plan. Tomorrow I will buy a car. It is certain. If you are making a prediction, you need to say something like, tomorrow, I think tomorrow I will buy, I think tomorrow I will have enough money. I think, I don't know, and I will buy a car. I don't know for sure. So it is important that regularly, maybe every evening, every other evening, that you practice just writing a little paragraph on your own diary to give you the opportunity to recycle, to use the language again and again. The second area that we looked at was to express preferences. So things like, is it better to go out or stay at home? Which movie do you prefer? Who is your favorite actor? So these questions, if you think about these questions, they make you express your preferences. So it is important then that you consider these questions about everything in your daily life, especially if you are living with other people and you do not use English inside your home. It is important that you consider, you think about these questions every day, and you try to give a different answer. So when you open the press, when you open the cupboard, when you are in your kitchen, and maybe you open the fridge, you can ask yourself out loud, so that you can listen to yourself. You can ask, do I prefer to cook pasta, or do I prefer to cook a salad today? And then you give an answer to yourself and you say, I think I prefer a salad. It's too hot outside. I prefer to eat a salad. And then if you have movies at home or Netflix, is it better to watch a TV series, or is it better to watch a movie? And that's another, and then you can answer this question yourself and see what your answer is. So every day before you make a decision, ask out loud these questions, ask to yourself and answer them to help you use the language as often as you can. The next area that we looked at was talking about events in the indefinite and recent past, as well as stating the duration of events. So things like, have you watched The Avengers? You can answer the question in the chat box. Have you watched that film, The Avengers? Some people say no, some people say yes, my son did, yes, my daughter. I haven't, yeah. Okay, let's see. So I have an answer here that I want us to explore. So my answer is yes, I have watched it twice. I watched it in the summer and I also watched it last month. I haven't watched anything so amazing since 2009. I watched the Avatar then. Yeah, so that's an example response. Now, let's have a look at the language we used here. And first, I want us to focus on I have watched it twice. Which tense is this? Which grammar is it? I am talking about the past. I am talking about the past, but it is the present perfect. Exactly. I'm using I have watched. Listen. I didn't say, yes, I watched it twice. I said, listen, I have watched it twice. I added, I have watched it there. Why did I say I have watched it and I didn't say I watched it twice? Why? Okay, I can see what you say. All right. Listen, guys, here. Whoop, sorry for that. If you have a look at the word twice there, do you see it here? It says I've watched it twice, but it doesn't say when. It doesn't say when. It just said in the past. I don't know when. So I say I have watched it. But if you see here, the next one, it says I watched it. Why? Why this is watched and not have watched? It's again in the past, both are in the past, but it says in the summer. Yeah? And the same is true for the next one, last month. So when I know when, we all know, I use the simple form, I watched, but it is important to remember when you don't know when you don't say it, it's important to remember that we are using have watched. Yeah, have watched. I don't know when. And you see the next example. I haven't watched anything so amazing since 2009. A period of time from 2009, from 2009 until the present. In this period, I'm not talking about very specific time. So I use haven't watched. Again, the present perfect, haven't watched. And then I know that I watched the Avatar then. When? In 2009, exactly. I know when. So it is important at this level, it is important that you start using both, because the examiner will be waiting to hear that you use both of these. So remember to practice this at home. And how can you practice? Here is an idea. Make a list of your hobbies and write short descriptions of your past experience with each one of them. For example, for me, I played the piano when I was younger. Yeah, do you see here? I played. Why? Because I know when. I'm telling you, when I was younger. I'm talking about a specific time. And then I say, but I haven't played it for 25 years. A period of time now. So I want you to try at home and make a list of all your hobbies. When this webinar is over, when it finishes, make a list of all your hobbies. And right next to each one of them, I want you to write one sentence where you use something like what I have. I used both. I used played and haven't played. Somebody writes, for example, Stella used a different structure in the chat box. That's correct as well. So when I talk about a specific point in time, I ate rice last night, somebody says, I ate rice last night, and I haven't eaten pasta for 2 years. Yeah, ate, particular time, haven't eaten, period of time. That's very important for this level, and I want you to start practicing it at home. Next one, that next language area, it's to give reasons. And the only way to give reasons is to start asking yourselves why, all the time, whatever you do. Now you are watching a webinar. Why? Why are you here today? You don't need to answer in the chat box, but you need to ask yourself and answer this question to get used to saying, oh, I watched this webinar because I want to prepare for the exam. Later, I will go out for a walk because the weather is really good. Tonight, I will watch an episode of my favorite TV series because I haven't watched it for a week and I really want to see what's happening next. All the time, just keep on asking yourselves why. And another idea I have is make a list of your favorite something. It could be your favorite food. It could be your favorite movie. It could be your favorite book, your favorite activity, your favorite anything at all. Next to this, start writing what you like about it. Yeah, so you can write my favorite, food, curry. What I like about it, it is warm, it has spices, and every time I eat it, it reminds me of home. Yeah, and then once you have this list, and then you can start linking the two, and you can start saying orally, you can say, my favorite dish is curry because it reminds me of home. Yeah, somebody wrote something like that. Absolutely, that's great. That's what I want you to do for everything that you do in your daily lives, to start practicing saying out loud those expressions. I prefer this food because it's spicy and reminds me of my childhood. Excellent. Another area is quantifying. That's another area that a language area, something that you need to start using a lot. And here, an idea I have for you is just open your fridge and start describing to yourself, if you don't have somebody else in the house to speak English to, you can talk to yourself, but make sure you do it out loud, not in your head, out loud, where you can describe what you see. For example, here, there are a lot of milk drinks in this fridge. Just an example, huh? Or there is some cheese left here. There is some cheese left here. So what I would say, don't only name the items, because for example, somebody said, I like apple. We need you to use quantifiers, a lot of, many, much, some, and so on. So you need to start using these a lot when you open your fridge and you start describing, like, yes, lots of juice in my fridge, something like that. So make an inventory, make a list of all the things in your house. Start from your fridge one day, and then the next day it's going to be maybe your wardrobe, maybe it might be something else, but you know, the furniture you have in your house, and so on. So whatever is that you want to make a list of, make sure you add those quantifiers. You know, there's you know, there is, there are, and then the quantities to help you practice with that. And these with this one we conclude the language requirements. This is all you need to do. Just to remind you, talk about the future, inform and predict. Then you need to be able to talk about your preferences. Then you need to be able to talk about the past, both specific and indefinite and recent past. Talk about the duration of events, give reasons, and quantify. These are the 6 areas that we saw today. These are the 6 areas that you need to be able to use in when you sit the exam. So as I said at the beginning, we talked about today, our focus is the topic stage of the exam. So the first question, of course, is, okay, I know the language, but how do I choose a topic? So before you make any decision about it, you need to sit down with yourself and make a list of your hobbies, your sports, your leisure activities, the things you do in your pastime activities. Maybe if you are attending school, you might want to focus on school or job. You might want to focus on travel. Or maybe you might want to focus on people you admire. These are just ideas. The important thing when it comes to choosing a topic is that your topic is specific. And I'll show you an example. I will show you an example. So we need you to start brainstorming. And the best way to start doing these brainstorming activities is by using the topic form that we use on the exams. You can find the topic form on the Trinity College London website. It is freely available for you. And later today, I will show you another thing, another idea about this. If you don't have the form, don't worry for now. When you practice at home, don't worry. You can use a piece of paper and pen and just make sure that when you think about your topic, you need 5 areas, 5 mini topics that are connected, maybe 5 questions to help you structure your topic. How to use, now we will see how to use this brainstorming activity, how to use this to ensure, to make sure that when you talk about your topic, you use the language that we saw before. Let's see how to do that. So I will give you my example. Remember, I said the topic needs to be specific. So if your topic is music, that's not a good topic because it is very general. We need something more specific. My example is my favorite instrument, the piano, or my favorite hobby, the piano. This is specific. It's not just music. It's narrowed down. It is focused on something that I do and I know. And let's see what I thought about the other areas. So my first one is, I like it better than other instruments, for example, the guitar. Now, tell me something. Remember the areas I showed you earlier, the language areas? Do you remember them? I said, talk about the future, preferences, talk about the past, quantifying. Do you remember them? I want you to tell me, type in the chat box, what is this all about? What will this point here help me? What language will it help me to use? Yeah, some people say preferences, exactly. So this particular one will help me to talk about preferences and also to give reasons, because I need to say why. I like it better. Well, if I'm in the exam, I say, right, I want to talk about the piano, and I want to start talking about why I prefer playing the piano to playing any other instrument, because, and then I give reasons. So this is expressing preferences and giving reasons. What about this one? My piano lessons. I also want to talk about my piano lessons. Why? What language will it help me to use? What language? It is English. What grammar? What grammar here? Huh? Is it about quantities? It's not about quantities. It's about, yes, it's about talking about events in the past. I can say things like, I have taken piano lessons for 15 years. Or I had a lesson every Monday when I was younger. So talking about the past. What about this one? Piano player as my future career. What grammar will this point help me use? People say future, and some people make exactly, it's a prediction. So I'm making a prediction. I don't know if I will become a piano player, but I can say, I think in 5 years' time, I will be ready to become a professional player. And I will play in every music hall around the world. And I will be famous. because I like it so much. Yeah, I'm just predictions. I'm predicting. Another area, my next concert. I want to talk about my next concert. Why? What will this help me? What grammar, what language will it help me to use? Future again, but this time, exactly, this time informing. Because I know my next concert is in a week's time. So next Monday, I will perform in front of 100 people. I'm very stressed. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. So I'm informing about the future. And finally, piano and other people. Maybe here I want to talk about, what do you think? What language would that area might help me? Maybe preference and exactly, maybe preference and quantifying. I can say, I don't know many people who prefer the piano to the guitar. Or I know a lot of people who play the piano. Or I think many people will play the piano in the future. It is very flexible. So what is important for us here? It is important that the way I complete this, the way I do my brainstorming with all the different areas helps me use appropriate language. So if I have this in front of me here and I start discussing my topic, then I know that I will use all the required language that I have to use, and I will get top marks because the topic form helps me use this language. One thing that it's important to remember is that this stage is not like a formal presentation where for 5 minutes you just talk. You need to engage the examiner. So remember to add questions for the examiner orally. So for example, I start my topic and I want to talk about the piano. I really like it. I prefer playing the piano to any other instrument because I think the sound of the piano is much better. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you like the sound of the piano? This question, if I take the exam, if I am the examiner, if I am the student taking the exam, I need to remember to ask the examiner a question to make it sound natural. Like when you talk with a friend of yours. Exactly, other questions. Some people write, do you play some instruments? You know, people write questions there, absolutely. Very, very good. So I have here 5 tips for you on how to prepare on your own, how to study on your own and practice a little bit for the exams. My first one is familiarize yourself with the exam. So go online, follow the link, go to Trinity College London website. You will find your exam there, and you can access those videos where you can watch other people taking the exam, and you can hear how they discuss their topic. Tip number 2, practice speaking as often as you can. And I know that if you live in an environment where people at your house, they do not speak English, it is difficult. So what to do? Get your phone, go to the recording application, the sound recorder, and speak to your phone. You can say I can speak to my phone and say, oh, tomorrow I will wake up at 5. I will go out for a run. I will come back. I will make breakfast. I talk about my future. I'm informing about my future plans. I record, and when you finish, listen to it. Listen. And notice the language you use. Check mistakes. Yeah, something that this one was not very clear. I need to say it again. And correct yourself and record again, the same thing again, but correct. And listen again. So record, listen, notice, correct, and record again. This is very, very important, because when you speak to someone, you don't think of what you say, you try to be fluent. But when you practice at home, it is important to record, listen, and try to identify, understand if you're using very good language or so-so, and what you need to improve. Because if you hear the past tense was not correct, you can go online, type activities for the past tense, and practice. My tip number 3, brainstorm topics and ideas. Listen, if you like pen and paper, you can do mind maps on pen and paper. If you prefer to work on the computer, you can use this website. It is free, and it helps you do mind maps, brainstorming. So you have your topic, you know, like I had music to general, musical instruments to general, the musical instrument I play, that's good. Okay, so that's my central idea. Now I need to brainstorm the other ideas, and I need to make sure that each idea will help me to focus on the particular grammar language that I need to show to the examiner that I can use. Tip number 4, use resources that are freely available. On the Trinity College London website, when you find your exam, when you go to GESE 5, you will find many activities and ideas that will help you practice at home. Things to consider, some activities to do, some role plays, things to say, to use the particular language that we want. Tip number 5, Form communities of learning. If you want to prepare for the GESE 5 exam, I asked you earlier, I said, do you know of anyone? And some of you said, no, I don't know, it's only me. But here, it's 500 people and many more that are not here today. You need to network, you need to connect with other learners to learn together and help one another. So if you use social media, try and find groups of language learners, English language learners, for example, and ask there, does anybody prepare for the GESE 5 exam? And maybe you can find them and you can start practicing. Or you can create your own group. You can create your own group on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on any application you use. Create it and share it with other people. Go on your social media and share it, and people will be very happy to practice with one another and learn together. So this brings us to the end of today's webinar. We had a very quick look at we saw an overview of the exam, of what GESE 5 is like. We saw that we are talking about a 10-minute exam, 2 parts, topic, conversation. Today we focused on the topic, and we also, in particular, we focused on what do I need to think about when I prepare, when I choose my topic and when I prepare for it. Tomorrow, we're going to focus more on how to deliver, how to actually give that the topic, how to make sure, for example, that I'm not just speaking for 5 minutes, but I engage the examiner, some tips and ideas for that. So I hope we can see you all. I hope we will see you all tomorrow, same time here. It was great having you. Thank you so much for being so active in the chat box. You've been amazing. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And I'll see you tomorrow, of course.